everyone, welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. I've wanted to talk about a couple of new releases and upcoming releases that I'm really excited about, and I'm going to do that today. Some of these books have just recently come out, like in the past month or so, and most of the books are going to yet come out in the next month or so. So these are all new releases that you can possibly add to your TBR if they haven't come up on your radar yet. I'm just going to tell you why I'm excited about these books and why they've kind of piqued my interest. And to be quite frank, I don't know too much about the synopsises of most of these books because I want to go in as blind as possible so I don't kind of get spoiled when it comes to these books. But most of the books are basically by authors that I'm very familiar with, or authors that I'm very excited to pick up because I don't know, or at least I haven't read anything by them, but I've heard very good things about their work. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in so you can see which books I'm really excited about. The first book is actually a novella, which is a prequel novella to a new trilogy by Simone. The book is called Salt in the Wound, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be a menage story. And we all know how well Simone can write a menage story. When I read the new Camelot series, I was really intrigued by what is happening. It was such an intriguing trilogy, and I'm very excited about the possibility of a new one with a different type of setting. So I'm definitely curious about this one. And then the next one is The Good Girl by Nikki Sloane. I have loved the Nashville Neighborhood series, and the last book that I read, which was The Frat Boy, was an absolute favorite of mine, and I just cannot wait to read the next one that just recently came out at the end of August. The Good Girl is going to be, I think, best friend's sister, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to hopefully be another very spicy, very engaging, intriguing story. So I'm really curious about this one. And then the next one is by Rebecca Yarros. So Rebecca Yarros this year specifically has blown up because of Fourth Wing, her new fantasy series that she has released. And I'm curious about both the sequel to Fourth Wing, which is called Iron Flame, which will come out, I believe, in November, as well as her latest contemporary release, which is In the Likely Event. That book actually is a military story where I think it's also kind of the right person at the wrong time situation. And I've heard nothing but good things about this story. I think it also has quite a high rating on Goodreads, so I'm curious to pick that one up as well. And then a book that is kind of on the lighter side, I hope at least, if it's similar to the first book within the series, is by Nisha Sharma. It's called Tastes Like Shakkar. And the first book, what was the first book called? I don't remember anymore. I read it last year. The book is called Dating Dr. Dill. That one I really liked. I was very pleasantly surprised by that one. So having another book within this same kind of world and I think family and friendship group is going to be intriguing to me. So I really cannot wait to pick that one up as well. And then the next one is a sports romance. The book is called Endgame, and it's by G.A. Mazurke or Mazurke. This book is a hockey romance. It is a brother's best friend, so I have issues with this trope. But when I read through the synopsis the first time, I was like, this may just work for me because it is a friends to lovers situation. So there is no animosity between the best friend and the sister in question. So I really hope that it's one that is handled in a different way than I typically see this trope going and me disliking it. So I have high hopes for this one, especially because this is a new to me author, and I really hope that I like it so that I can continue on reading their books. And then another book that I really have heard a lot of good things about, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is a small town romance. The book is called Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery. Small town romances have been making a big surge this year, not only with the kind of suspenseful type of books, such as Catherine Cowell's books, but Laura Pavlov has had a lot of small town romances released lately, and they have been quite the hit within the romance community. So I think that this, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't know too much about it, but this book kind of reminds me of Laura Pavlov's books, and also Kat Singleton, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm curious about this one as well. And then typically I wouldn't include like second, third, or fourth book within a series that I have not started yet, but I'm very confident that I'm going to be picking this one up because I'm going to be binging the full series, at least the ones that are available at the moment. The book is A Queen of Thieves and Chaos by K.A. Tucker. This is the third book within a series. It's a fantasy series by K.A. Tucker. This is, I think, one of the few series that I haven't yet read by this author, and I'm actually going to be meeting her at Rare in Florence. So I've decided to pick all three books up just before I leave to the book signing so that I can be fresh within my memory of these books when I get to meet her. And I definitely want to pick this up because I've heard nothing but good things about this series as well. And then a kind of a Halloween type read, so like a more atmospheric read for fall that I'm very excited about is by C.M. Nascosta, which is called Hollow. I really liked Morning Glory Milking Farm and also the sequel to that book by C.M. Nascosta. Very weird books, but very intriguing ones, and I like the writing style of this author, so I definitely want to pick up a more atmospheric read for the fall, and I'm really curious about this one. And then another book that I'm very curious about is The Long Game by Elena Armas. This author is the author of The Spanish Love Deception, very hyped up book through Book Talk, and I really liked that one. It wasn't a favorite of mine, but I really liked it. And this is the third book that Elena Armas released, and I think it just recently came out, if I'm not mistaken, or is just coming out this week, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to have the audiobook available to me through Storytel, so I'm definitely picking this one up. And she is also going to be at Rare in Florence, so I possibly will also purchase the physical copy if I get to read it before the signing and like it. I'm going to decide on the spot if I'm going to purchase it. This, I believe, has to do with like a retired soccer player who has become a soccer coach, and he's kind of a grump in this small town. And then the heroine is, she was part of a soccer team that is very prominent in like a big city, but she had this mishap through which her father, who is owner of the soccer club, sends her away so she can redeem her reputation, and she needs to start working with this football coach, and they kind of butt heads because both of them are grumps. At least this is what my understanding of this book is, and I'm really curious to see how two grumps are going to make it work. So I am curious about this one as well. The next one is by Lucia Franco. She just released Tell Me What You Want, which is a novel. Basically, Lucia Franco is an auto-buy author for me. I definitely want to pick this book up regardless of what it's about. I think it's another Brother's Best Friend romance, so I'm kind of wary of it. But at the same time, as I mentioned, Lucia is an auto-buy author for me, and I'm so sad I won't meet her at Rare in Florence, but I've already mentioned that in a previous video, so I'm not going to complain anymore about not getting to meet her. I really hope in the future I will get to meet her. And then this book, just regardless of what it's about, I'm just going to pick it up as soon as I can, once I kind of have all of the mandatory reading behind me for the book signing that I'm going to. Now, in October, there's going to be a couple of releases that everyone is waiting for. First and foremost, Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is the fourth book within the Chestnut Spring series. This book is the most awaited, I think, out of all of the books within this series because it's going to be Beau's story. So I'm curious to see who is going to be his love interest. I still haven't read Reckless, so I don't know if there is any hints towards who his love interest is going to be. But I'm definitely picking this book up because Elsie Silver is just a magician with words, especially within this series. I absolutely love them, so I definitely want to pick this one up. And then another one, which is possibly even more expected, at least in my opinion. I absolutely love the first two books within the series by Liz Tomforde. We've got Mile High, the first book, and then The Right Move, the second book, which is possibly my favorite book of this year. Yeah, the third book is just the most awaited book for me, at least. It's called Caught Up, and it's going to be a baseball single dad romance, and I think also a nanny romance. So I'm really excited for this one. And then another book that typically I wouldn't include, but I've just again heard so much goodness about this book that I definitely want to pick it up. The book is called The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy, and it's kind of, I think, a spin-off series from her, either Briar U or the other series that I really get them confused the whole time because I haven't read all of the books. I think I've read only 2 books out of the 2 series and I get them mixed up, but I definitely want to just binge read everything so that I'm kind of up to date with her series, because I know that it's such a beloved series, both of them actually, and this is going to be kind of a spin-off series, or like the POV of one of the characters from one of the series. I don't know what it's about, but I definitely am curious to pick it up because again, I've been seeing flashes of it here and there and everyone has been raving about it, so I definitely want to pick it up. I'm a basic bit. I just want to to read whatever is hyped up because I typically will love whatever is hyped up, so I'm very basic in that respect. And then we've got a new release by Anna Huang, which is going to be King of Greed. So I haven't read King of Pride, King of Wrath, and is there anything else? I don't know if there is any else, but I haven't read the first couple of stories within this series because I just haven't had the time. I'm currently reading for the book signing, so I just don't have the time to fit those in, but I'm just so curious about them because again, I've heard nothing but good things about them. So I really loved her previous series, the Twisted series, so I definitely want to continue on with this new series by Anna Huang. So once I get to read whatever I want, I definitely will pick up all of these books all together. Now, next up, we've got Wildfire, which is going to be the new release by Hannah Grace. I really loved Icebreaker last year and I actually reread it this year and I still loved it. So I'm very curious to see what the follow-up story is going to be, and I definitely will be picking this up as soon as it comes out. And we've got a young adult romance coming out. I typically don't read a lot of young adult romances anymore. The book I'm going to make an exception for is by Ali Hazelwood. It's called Check and Mate, and I'm so curious about this one because I've never read a romance that includes chess as kind of the background theme, so I'm really curious about this one. And then we've got a release, I believe in November, which is kind of a low stakes fantasy story by Travis Baldree. We had Legend and Lattes that came out, I believe, last year, and it was really hyped up. And this is the sequel to it, which is going to be called Bookshops and Bonedust. And I'm curious about this one as well because I really enjoyed the first book. So I'm looking forward to the second one. And the last book that I have on my list is called Next Door Nemesis. Now, this book, 2 rival candidates for a homeowner association presidency are about to find out how dirty suburbanites fight in this steamy new romantic comedy by Alexa Martin. So this sounds like a very cute premise, and I don't know, something with the cover just grabbed my attention, kind of caught my eye. So this is going to be a rivals to lovers story, and I'm just curious about it. I don't know, it looks like a fun read, so I definitely want to pick it up. It's going to be coming out in November of this year, so if I get in the mood for kind of a steamy rivals to lovers situation, I'm definitely picking this book up. These are all the books that I'm very curious to pick up in the next couple of months when it comes to new releases. There are definitely a couple of other new releases that have caught my eye, but I definitely don't think that I'm going to be picking them up soon. One of them being the new JLA book that is coming out this week, but I am not caught up on her other series and I just want to finish those first before I start a new one. So there's just a couple of books that definitely are on my radar, but I haven't included them in my list because it's just going to be a very long list otherwise. If you have other new releases that you are very excited about that you want to share with me, please leave them down below in the comment box, because I definitely want to be kept up to all the new releases so that I can just add them to my never-ending TBR as well. I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and bye.